Okay, so like here's something that kind of goes along with that. It's huge, 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 huge. We'll see the next one. Make the faults seem easy to correct. Like, this is just straight facts, right? Like, the worst thing you want to do is say, hey, we've got this challenge, we have these tasks to overcome, here are some of the things we need to do, blah, 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 whatever, right? And the way that you frame something can totally change the way that people see them. So like, if you go to a movie, right, and you look up the name of the movie and you're trying to find show times, and after you look up the name of the movie, like the first thing you see is, huge box office failure, massive financial failure, or something like that, and then it's like the name of the movie. Like, what do you think you're going to think about that movie? You're probably going to think, oh, well, it must be super bad. Similarly, if you look up the name of the movie and the first thing that comes up is massive blockbuster, quintuples revenue, most successful movie of the year, like you're probably going to think it's, oh crap, I better get some tickets before it sells out. This must be really, really good, right? It must be great. So it's the same thing with challenges, right? You want to make faults seem easy to correct. So like if someone, and this is like, oh, so powerful. Like you guys remember the 1 minute manager from earlier. This is that same key concept in the 1 minute manager. This idea that you want to make it seem super, super easy to correct the faults by sort of like putting them in a place of positivity, right? So instead of just, going up and attacking somebody and saying, hey, I really don't like the way that you shave, or whatever, whatever you're frustrated about. Like instead I'll be like, hey, awesome work, great job, super, super cool, love everything you did, your results are amazing, everything's awesome. If you maybe make this one little shift right here, not a big deal, shouldn't be too tough to do, super easy. Make that one little shift. Sounds easy when you phrase it that way. Sounds simple to achieve when you put it in a sphere of positivity, right? Versus saying that you're the worst ever, I can't believe you don't shave, blah, 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 blah. Now it sounds like it's a hard thing to do. People don't like to do hard things, people like to do easy things. Great little sample, or great little premise of this principle. Like if you want to get people to maybe join a project of yours, or you're posting up like a listing and you're trying to get people help you out on some kind of project, right? Like, you got your normal description of what it is, and at the end you say, this should be easy work for anybody that knows how to XYZ, right? If you know how to do XYZ, this should be easy work. You want to phrase what you're asking of others as really, really easy work, and the way you do that, besides directly saying that this is easy, because people will believe you if you say that, because they trust, right? Like this idea, if it's easy for people that know how to do it, of course, right? Like that makes sense, that's logical. If you know how to do this, this is going to be easy work. It's the same thing here. You want to sort of make others feel like what they're doing is easy, right? And the process they're going through, and the strategies they have, and whatever you're asking of them is not a big ask, but it's actually something just very simple, very nominal. And you want to sort of shrink the importance of it in their mind so that they think oh sure, of course, I'll do that, not a big deal. Make the fault seem easy to correct. And really the best way to do that is by first giving praise, and saying wow, all this other stuff you're doing is really, really amazing. Awesome, awesome job, really appreciate it. There's this one little tiny thing, can you maybe change that? Now, instead of that one little tiny thing being everything you're talking about, it's only 10%, right? And so you've got this 90% of happiness that's really, really, really great, and it's just a little change. Versus, if you didn't have this, right, instead of, just 10% of what you're talking about being the bad thing, if instead it's 100% the bad thing, now it's going to seem wow, this is going to be a big challenge to overcome. This is going to be some hard work. You don't want people to feel like that. You want them to feel like it's an easy thing to do, a simple process to go through. And then as soon as you do that, you can get to that end result super, super easily by getting it done and making it happen, which is super crucial, super powerful. And it just stems from this idea that you want to make people feel comfortable and excited to go and work and do what they love, right? Because in reality, this guy he wants to do the best that he can. Everyone wants to do the best they can, but people don't respond well to criticism, right? And so you have to really, 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 really be careful with criticism. If you use it at all, it's usually best to just not use criticism and only praise, the positive things that happen. But if you do have something that really needs to be overcome, I remember some of my old bosses, it was awful, awful, awful stuff. People treat them terribly because they made everything that was a challenge seem like it was so much bigger than it actually was. They made a huge deal out of everything. If you make a really, really, really big deal out of challenges and out of faults, it's going to be significantly tougher for people to psychologically, personally overcome them, get to that next level, and have that success and make that change in their lives, because they think, wow, this must be a super, super difficult thing to do. There's no way I can do it. You want to give people belief that they can make that shift and that they can have that success. Awesome. Okay, frenemies. So, this one's so fun. Okay, so you've got, Snowy, Cozy Glow, and T-Rex and Chrysalis, and they're all together, and Grogar basically comes in, and he, tries to lead these guys by force. And he sort of says, you guys have to come together, and you must form a team. You must form a group. You have to have bonds. Remember, this idea of leadership by force is so ineffective, and it's really, they don't talk about it too much, but like these guys, these three, are basically collaborating behind Grogar's back to take him down, which is just super bad. It's all because he's trying to force them into submission instead of actually being there for them, with them, alongside them as a collaborative teammate. But anyway, Grogar says that he wants them to go to this faraway mountain and climb this super huge mountain. It's supposed to be very tough to get to the top. It's like this magical spell that's protecting the top of the mountain with big winds and snow and all that stuff. Because there's this special bell at the top called Grogar's Bell, and it contains like all of his magic. But a long time ago, a unicorn starts with a bearded cane and took it away, put it on top of this mountain, and like cast a spell on it so no one could get to it. And so it's like super hard to get to, and he wants these guys basically to work together as a team to come and get this bell and then have, get the magic and succeed. And so, he says that, then he walks away and leaves. And then what happens next is really powerful. And so, like, they just do it so well. So let's get right into that.
I think I know a way that we can grow. Time to try something new, something better. No more solo, trust is the way to go. And all we need to do is work together.
Please. No thanks, no way. I feel the need to say I'm smarter, stronger, and I don't need you to.
Stronger? Okay. I guess we'll downplay how bad you got your rear end handed to you.
It's time to try a better way to be bad.
Do we really need a better way to be bad?
United as one.
Teamwork, please. What a fad.
Combine all our strength. We'll go to any length once we have a better way to be bad. Let's go. Begin. This time we're gonna win.
The ice you're on is thin, so watch what you say.
I know you're in. I think I see a grin.
For all this pain and torture, I swear you'll pay.
This time we've got a better way to be bad.
Sounds like a long shot, there's better way to be bad.
United as one, we'll make those ponies so sad.
If we say okay, would you just go away?
Once we have a better way to be bad. We want to break their friendship, we want to make them weak. You want revenge on Starlight, you want that huge physique. So let's increase our chances by working as a team to crush our enemies to death and laugh as they all scream!
I think I see a better way to be bad.
Just put me in charge, make me queen, you'll be glad.
No, listen to me, I'm the best of us three.
Then you'll see a better way to be bad.
Wait, this is my thing, a better way to be bad.
You shall do as I command, I will rule this triad.
Hey, this is my song!
Sorry, not any longer.
A better way to be bad. Now you're making me mad.
Won't the ponies be sad?
That would make me so glad.
Now we've got a better way to be bad.
Now, how powerful is that? How cool is that? And notice at the end, like, she, Snow Glow, right? She shifts the perspective from, like, the benefit to her to, like, how working as a team would actually benefit Chrysalis, how it would benefit T-Rex, right? Because at the beginning, they were a little bit reluctant. They didn't really want to work as a team. They didn't really know how to work as a team. They just didn't have any experience with it. It wasn't what they were passionate about. But Cozy Glow, like, she's seen the power of friendship, right? She understands how insanely important it is to come together as a group and as a mastermind. And so she shows, like, what the benefit would be to them, like how they can destroy their enemies, how they can get swole, how they can go out and crush it by working together. She puts the benefits she shows them the benefits, right? And so like they're on board with it. They works out really well. It's just super cool. And so basically they say, all right, let's go. We're gonna like take on this journey, and we're gonna go to this mountain, right? And they get to this mountain, and you know the three of them are at the bottom. And what happens here is really interesting. So Chrysalis, you know, she basically just tries to like fly up here and get this all by herself. And it doesn't work because, like I said, there's like giant winds, and the giant winds push her away, and she just can't get there on her own. She tried to turn into like this giant flying, you know, monster, and she tried everything she could. She wasn't able to succeed. Similarly, Cozy Glow, she tries to walk up the mountain, and she finds like this guy who lives in a shack, and she's like, hey, can you show me how to get to the top of the mountain? And he's like, no, I'm the protector of the mountain. You can't get to the top of the mountain. And she tries to like bully him into subduing, and tries to like torture him and destroy his house, and like have a big snowball fight or like this huge like avalanche on him. But it just doesn't work, and she can't really get to the top on her own. It's just too hard to scale the mountain. And so she comes back, she falls down the mountain, she fails. So Chrysalis fails, Cozy Glow fails. And what's interesting is like T-Rex takes this stance, and he says, you know what, I think I understand it. Like there's no way I'm gonna get to the top of this mountain by myself. And there's no way this can happen if we don't work together as a team. And so he just kind of like walks around, and then he comes over here, and he basically just kind of builds himself a chair. And he just kind of chills out and sits in this chair for like the entire day while everybody else goes and tries their own adventure. Because like they said they were going to work together as a team, then try to do their own thing by themselves, and working alone it does not work, right? So he just chills out until they come back and they meet him together and they have dinner together, and they realize like that they basically can't do this on their own. They do need to be a team. They gotta come together if they're gonna have a bigger impact. And everything shifts when there's this like huge like bear animal that comes out of the forest. And Chrysalis, basically, he's this giant bear, and it's like twice the size of T-Rex. It's just huge, and it's like trying to like eat them and kill them. And so Chrysalis turns into like a female version of this giant bear thing, and then like subdues the giant bear, and then she uses her power to like suck all the love and all the power and all the magic out of the giant bear, and basically just like kills it. And they realize that like as a team, as a unit, they're so much more powerful than they could ever be if they try to do this on their own. And so they come together and they say, all right, you know what, let's do this as a group, as a unit. And this is where like the core foundation of their friendship actually begins, right? Because they have a common goal to work towards. And when they have a common goal to work towards, they can bond as they approach and they attack this common goal. And so what happens is T-Rex and Cozy Glow, like, they can't really fly, but Chrysalis can. And so Chrysalis turns into that giant thing that she was trying to, fly into here, but she can't really make it all the way here. But she decides that she can like carry Cozy Glow and T-Rex, and so she carries them up to this point, and then she throws them onto this platform, and this is kind of the platform that you see right here. They all get onto this platform, and they pull her in, and they pull everyone gets to this platform. But then there's like this magic, barrier around the actual cave that contains the hidden bell. And so to open up this barrier, like they have to trust each other. What happens is so powerful, so huge, so massive. Basically, they have to like open up a hole in this little force field thing so that it's big enough that Cozy Glow can get in, because the way it works, it doesn't work. And like there's just this insane trust moment that is so powerful. And I want to show you guys it because like I don't think I can do it justice. It's so powerful on its own.
I'm okay!
Can you absorb it and make it go away?
I can only absorb magic from living beings.
Like her?
Betrayal!
Not betrayal. Teamwork. If T-Rex absorbs your energy, he might be strong enough to break through.
And then?
Then he gives it back.
I do?
Mm-hmm.
How do I know you won't take my magic and leave me?
Would we do that to you? Okay, normally, yes, we would.
I'll give you your magic back.
Do it.
So much power! Welcome back, baby! It's not big enough for me.
Maybe not you! Keep it open, or I'll be trapped forever!
Would that be so terrible?
Can't hold much longer! Hurry!
Ta-da!
My magic! I wasn't sure you were going to give it back.
Neither was I. But working together seemed smarter than to continue fighting.
And so you see this huge shift in the trust they have in each other. Because they go through this huge event. They go and they achieve this big goal. They get the bell. They have the success as a group. And they start building these bonds of trust. Because that's like the core foundation of these relationships, right? Is trust. And it's just so huge. It all comes with this common goal that they work towards. By acting as a team, they make it happen. They make it a reality. And it is so powerful. And they just get it done and they crush it. So really huge concept to take from here. Is this idea like even unlikely teams can become teams when you have that common goal. You see them working together, that's bonding. And that leads to that trust building, which is huge. Awesome. Okay, sweet and smoky. Oh, this one's so fun. Okay, so like you've got like Spike and Ember, and like they're the school of friendship, and they're having a huge party. And basically they're like, hey, can we go home and have a big party at home? Because it's like egg hatching season. They're gonna have all the eggs hatch. And so Twilight's like, sure, you can go, just take Fluttershy, and she can look at the eggs that hatch and all that fun stuff. So they take this huge trip over to the Dragonlands, right? They basically just go home and just have some fun. And when they get home, when they get to the Dragonlands, right? You've got Spike and Ember, and Fluttershy just kind of goes off to like learn about animals and stuff. And then there's Garble, right? Garble, and like he's the big red guy who's bullying Spike and all his friends and stuff. And so Garble's here, and he's got like his buddies. And just kind of making like general chaos and just making it like tough for Spike. And what we learned is like Spike learns that Garble and Ember are siblings. And Ember's actually his sister, right? She's like, so here, Smolder. Smolder is Garble's sister, right? And so like he's like freaking out. He's like, what the heck, man? Your brother's like a jerk. And it makes him feel really bad because like Smolder's super nice, but like his brother is always bullying Spike, and it's a tough situation to be in, right? And he's like, why you do that? And it's so crazy. So basically Spike spends like the first half of the trip just trying to get closer to Garble because like he wants to be friends with him since Smolder, he's friends with Smolder and Smolder's his sister, right? And so he just tries. And like he learns that like Garble likes to do sort of some of the stuff like Smolder likes to do, right? So like Smolder likes to, go and have like big tea parties and just like have fun and stuff like that. And so like she'll do that, she'll have like picnics and stuff with Garble, and then Spike will come and try to, be friendly and be nice and be kind. And he does everything that he can do personally to try to foster a relationship between the two, just like the relationship that he has with his sister, right? Because he wants to be nice, wants to be kind. But like the challenge is, like every single time that they get around their friends, right? Like he's just a total jerk to Spike. They go like, lava sledding, lava surfing, and he just like crashes them, wrecks them, and throws them all over the place, disrespects him, doesn't like give him space. It's just bad, makes fun of him. I mean, it's just harsh. You can see right here, he's kind of holding like this little scarf thing. Like he literally made like, he hand stitched like this blanket or scarf for Garble, and he just like burns it right in front of him. And it's like, dude, what the hell? Like, it's just, it's really, 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 really mean. And, you know, Fluttershy comes and she sees all this going on, and she's on Spike's side. She's like, what the heck, man? Just not a great situation. I remember this idea that it's really, 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 really difficult to change other people, right? The only people that can change others are themselves, right? So, like, if you want to inspire change, if you want to instill action in others, it's got to come from them. It's got to come from the inside. And after all the work that Spike does to befriend Garble, like, he basically says, look, this isn't working. I'm gonna, like, I care about this relationship, but like, not that much. I'm gonna walk away, I'm gonna go over here, and he goes help Ember. So Ember's got like this big field over here, and there are tons and tons of these dragon eggs, and this is hatching season, right? So like these, you know, pits are just filled with a bunch of little eggs, and he goes to help Ember with eggs, because Ember's, you know, is having a little bit of trouble with them, because all the eggs are like shaking around, and they're not hatching on time, and she doesn't really know what's up. And so Spike comes over here, and he basically says, hey, you know, I'll help you out, Ember. Let's figure out what's going on. And he says, hey, you know, could Fluttershy go and try to talk to Garble and try to figure out what's going on, because he can't figure it out, and he doesn't care. Like, it's just not a big deal. You know, he cares, but not that much. And it's just such harsh treatment on him that he would just rather, you know, be out of that situation and get himself away from that negative energy, expunge the negativity from his life, and go and do something positive and productive and try to figure out what's up with these eggs. And, you know, Fluttershy, she goes hard on this guy. Like, she used to be meek, she used to be super, super shy. Like she goes off on Gargle. She's like, why are you such a jerk to Spike? And she says, why? She asks the most powerful question that you can ask anyone, which is why? Now, it's not necessarily something that you always want to ask, because like, why is one of the few things you can say to somebody that will make them be defensive. It'll make them want to defend their opinions and their actions and themselves and their perspectives and their viewpoint. Because why it sort of like suggests that you're challenging what they think, you're challenging their beliefs, which it's a harsh one. But when you're in like this tough situation, or when you're trying to get to the root of a problem, if you ask why, that's really the fastest way to get to the root cause of something, right? So Fluttershy says, like, why are you such a jerk? And, you know, they're in private, and Garble, you know, he opens up to this neutral third party, right? Fluttershy, neutral third party, opens up to this neutral third party and says, you know, in reality, I really, really, really like poetry, and I love, love, love poetry. It's like my favorite thing ever. And all I really want to do is be a poet and just sit here and like sing and say rhymes and be a poet and stuff. But he's so scared that if he does that, all his friends will think he's a total loser, and like think he's, you know, just looks really weird, and they won't accept him, and they'll just laugh at him and make fun of him. And so to stop the people around him from making fun of him, he makes fun of Spike, and he sort of projects, you know, his own fears, his own uncertainties onto basically just bullying Spike, which is like super, 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 super harsh. And she's like, wow, okay, that's kind of deep. Okay. She realizes that he's hiding who he really is for fear of what others will think, which is so messed up. You cannot hide who you really are. Like you just can't care. You have to care about others, but not that much. Like, you can't care if you're gonna get ridiculed for some hobby. Like, if that's who you are, all you're gonna have is what Garble, like, his whole life has just been like making fun of other people with negativity and bad energy. Like, that's a bad life to be living, if you ask me. And he's just been living this torture for years because he won't come to terms with his true feelings, his true emotions, and express himself for who he is and live with the consequences. It's bogus. So at the same time as this is going on, you got Spike over here with Ember. And the challenge is, again, is these eggs are just shaking. And what they figure out is that the eggs are like freezing cold, which is a big problem because the eggs need to be like blazing hot and really, really warm to hatch, right? So what happens usually is there's like lava, right? And so the lava will go underneath this this basin, and it flows underneath all the eggs, and it flows under the ground, and there's just lava pools basically around this entire area, and it heats up all the eggs. But basically what Garble and his friends have been doing is just been like knocking out holes in the lava to go lava surfing, and they've just been spilling the lava out all over the place just to have a good time, without necessarily knowing that, like, you know, that was the, you know, breeding ground. And so Ember and Spike, you know, they see these guys lava surfing with the lava that's supposed to be for the eggs, and they realize what's going on, and they're like, crap, what are we supposed to do? And so they decide, their Fluttershy comes in, and she realizes that she can use this talent that he has as a poet as an asset instead of a liability, right? Instead of something that's bad, she can turn a positive light on it, make it a great thing for everybody involved. And so, you know, they get all the dragons together, and they bring everybody to these, you know, hatching grounds. There's like a whole bunch of them. And like basically like when they laugh, they just like breathe fire, because they're fire-breathing dragons, right? So they like, well, they'll just like burst out fire whenever they laugh, right? And so what Ember and Fluttershy and Spike do is they realize that like the best way to make them laugh is to use Garble. And so they have Garble come in, and he comes up here and he stands on like this podium, and they have him start to express himself, start to be who he really is, and start to read out his poetry. And he starts reading this poetry, and the moment that he does, everyone thinks it's the freaking funniest thing on the planet. They're like making fun of him, they think it's hilarious, and they just start bursting out tons of fire all over these eggs, right, all over the shells, and it goes all over the place, right? So that like everything gets super hot, and everyone is just constantly laughing at him and burning up all these eggs with their fire, right? And it's just so powerful, because instantly you start to see some of the eggs hatch, right? Everything hatches. And then like literally like in the span of like 5 minutes, like all of the dragons hatch, which I don't know, it's a show, so whatever, right? And like everything works out perfectly, and exactly what happens, like what they need to happen happens. And what's so crazy is because of the benefit of his poetry, because of the benefit of like the work that he did, what he was passionate about, him expressing himself, instead of people making fun of him after this, everyone sees him as this big hero. And instead of them saying, you know, oh, you must be a total loser because of your poetry, they say, wow, you're awesome, you're so cool, you know? Great job, I want to learn to do poetry like you, you're the coolest. And he gets admired and praised for his special abilities because they had a positive impact on the community, right? And so it's so crucial, so key that you get to the root of a challenge, you get to the root, especially if it's an important relationship, like, I don't know, your best friend's sister or something, or brother. Like understand what's really going on at the foundation, because if you can fix the foundation, it might turn out that you can build a really great building on that lot. You just have to get it right at the beginning. You just have to get it right at the base and figure out, you know, how there needs to be a shift. So for him, like this shift was him expressing himself, right? It was him being who he really was, fearlessly. And the moment that he didn't really, you know, wasn't worried about anybody, and he was basically forced to go out there and do it and be himself, he was able to fundamentally shift how everyone saw him, and he was able to be himself for the first time in freaking 10 years. It changed everything for him. Because he was finally able to do what he loved, and respected for it by his friends without, you know, I mean, public face, ridicule, like remember, we talked about the importance of face, like this is a risk, right? But it works out well, and it allows him to do this for the rest of his life, still maintaining his face, doing what he's passionate about, which is so huge, because the best way to stick with anything is to just be passionate about it, and that's exactly what he does here, and it just works out so well. Really powerful.